You know what? This was very refreshing to read, just because I'm getting like a lot of perspective, but I also get a lot of people specifically echoing not just my opinions and thoughts, but like also each other. So it does feel nice and refreshing to kind of read on this. I would like to make this like a more well, not more frequent, but like every maybe 2 weeks, maybe every 1 month, I would like to talk to the community a bit. It doesn't matter, like if it's casuals, ERPers, maybe housing enthusiasts, just to get people's opinions and just read out their comments. Obviously, if they're willing. Again, if you guys want your comment to be read out from now on, just like leave at the very start, like either hashtag Goldknife or hashtag shout chat. Essentially, that's what I'm going to be calling it, because shout chat is where everyone can get to just say what they need to say. So for the next conversation, and I will read the comments in 2 weeks. Again, probably on, what day is today? It is Monday 20th. So in 2 weeks, again, it's going to be on the Monday. It's going to be a good start to a week. We're going to see what people think. The next conversation I want to talk to people is specifically what kind of... How do I even phrase this? If you could add specifically any type of content, this is not gear related, mind you. If you could add any type of content to the game, and this is for everyone, hardcore raiders, mid-core raiders, and casuals, I want to hear specifically your thought. Like, if you could add anything to the game, what would you add?
Dating NPC sim.
Fucking, of course you would. So just let me know, like, what would you add? Maybe specific attractions to the Golden Saucer, maybe some specific collaborations, maybe specific content that you would love to be in this game, or some kind of content that's already in this game and you want to expand on it. So I would love to hear, like, how would you specifically add content to the game? Because I am definitely enjoying this, just kind of going through and reading your comments. I apologize if I did seem a bit facetious towards some of you, but I do appreciate everyone's like feedback and taking the time to talk to me on these conversations. So hopefully I'll talk to you guys soon. Actually, you know what? I know what I want to do. I did encourage people to specifically... let me find that video. I could do more React, but like right now I want to get to something real quick. Where's that video? There it is. Any casual... Okay, so... don't need the right bookmarks bar. Right, so... a couple of weeks ago, I reacted to a very frustrating video by Desperius. And it brought up a lot of questions for me. And I genuinely wanted to reach out to like the casual community and just like see if like, do I have a depth like opinion? Do a lot of like content creators not like understand like kind of like the necessity or what players want, or like just like a lot of like takes that I was very confused. So I kind of reached out and asked the casual community to kind of comment under this video to kind of help me figure out what's happening. Is it true? Is like I just wanted to kind of connect and see their perspective. I do want to make this like a not I don't know if it's going to be a weekly or bi-weekly, maybe even a monthly segment, where I just want to reach out and talk about certain topics with different players and just see, let people kind of comment and just say their piece, say their opinion, so people can kind of either start a conversation or just kind of stay connected. So it's not just like a lot of like players just just have a certain perspective on other players. So there's like a lot less what's the word I'm looking for? A lot less walls between like the casual, the mid-course, and the hardcore players. So we can all kind of at least share our opinions, and we can all kind of, you know, come somewhere just to be heard, at least. I don't know. Or at least to start a conversation. Actually, you know what I'm going to call this segment? I'm going to call this Shout Chat. So essentially, it's just going to be people offering, just to see their perspective. I'll read it out. For now, I'll just read all the comments because I did request them, and I am curious what you guys said. For the next one, I will bring up a topic eventually. I need to figure out what I want to talk to people about. If you want your comment to kind of be read and discussed in one of these videos or stream even, hashtag either shout chat or hashtag Goldknyfe, one of those hashtags on your comments. So I know that you actually want to kind of have a conversation. One thing though, people, I know some of you have reached out to me on Twitter. Some of you have reached out and offered to have a discussion on Discord. I'm not gonna do that, and it's it's mainly because it's multiples of you now.
Why you stupid strummer?
Shut your fucking mouth. You're stupid. But the main reason is because I did have requests for, you know, conversations previously on Twitter, but now from this one video, I had multiple people specifically reach out, and if I'm gonna start, you know, accepting everyone and having conversation with everyone, it's gonna take a while. So not that I feel like you don't have anything valid to say, but it's like if I'm gonna let one person reach out to me and have a conversation, I have to do it with everyone, and at one point, a lot of people will have a lot to say to me. So just to keep it fair, just treat the YouTube comment section specifically for this. I promise you I read through all of them. I didn't get a chance to properly go through them, but I did go through them like a couple of days ago. I went through them. If I liked your comment, the chances are I've read it. So I want to kind of go through them and just see what people think. Let's do this. Default view. Okay. I would... Do people see the comments? They kind of do. I just need to put them a bit higher above me. Okay. I would do Criterion if it gave me an upgrade path. My group does Criterion just for fun and clearing. Done one lockout a week. It took us like 6 weeks to finish another Silda, mostly blind. We've been farming ass for coins before moving on to Roll'em. I assume he means Rock'em. But haven't touched a hard mode yet, so there's really no rush. I agree, there's not a lot of rush for... I think there's not a lot of rush specifically for Criterion. It's not a very patch-like content. Criterion is a lot of fun, but the rewards are indeed kind of garbage. It takes way too many runs to get the mount. Mount is tradable, so it's not really a mark of effort. And outside the mount, there's like furniture. It doesn't feel like enough for the time and difficulty. I'd love if there was gear upgrade mats or weapon upgrade mats or something came from Criterion. We did get the weapon upgrade mats, but I feel like it's gonna take too much effort for that. Personally, despite my enjoyment of the content, Savage feels really bad. We did a perfect run, so decided to try Savage one time. Increased HP and damage threw off all our timings, and the sheer damage and one-shots meant our runs ended early, and it meant starting over. That's gotta suck. I don't see any reason for this mode to exist. People were not asking for massive 25-minute perfect play grinds, and the changes mean you can get screwed by minor misjudgings. I agree that, like, this mode, it does not need to be a dungeon.
New TFT set coming tomorrow, if incorrect.
Fucking sick. I do agree that this mode, like the Savage mode, does not exist. It should not exist. I see where it could exist. I feel like this mode should exist in the style of Ultimate. Not that it needs to be an Ultimate raid. I believe it needs to be just a gauntlet of bosses. That would be Savage. Maybe like a one secret boss at the end. Because there's like 3 bosses, add a 4th one for that gauntlet. That's Savage. That should be more fun. Otherwise, you're just doing like because it's so similar and so samey. I feel like that is the biggest difficulty, like not difficulty, but like the issue that people have with specifically this content. I think of myself as very casual, not because I can't put out good numbers, but because the way the game is structured, nothing hard is really worth the effort. Okay, I learned that very early on in ARR and Heaven Sword era. Coming from 11, when I was 75 was max level. A piece of gear in the endgame content lasted for an entire time I played. It was worth running endgame, joining big groups, learning and perfecting strats. In 14, 95-99% of the stuff you have to work for will be replaced by the end of the year, stat-wise. I agree, yeah. Barring glamour, the honest-to-goodness true endgame which lasts us for as long as you enjoy the look, there's very little you have to do in the game day of instead of getting it to... Hold on, I think I'm stupid. There's very little you have to do in the game day off instead of getting it whenever. Oh, okay. So, okay, time-wise. When it can potentially be easier or better yet when your other friends get to it and everyone is doing it just for fun. Yeah, I agree with that. From my casual perspective, those dungeons are cool and fun for what they are, but running Savage type content, or any content for that matter, where stat upgrades are the objective, is just not on my radar. Yeah, I can see that. Just like upgrading gear, just like the small, minuscule... Like even ultimates, people will clear ultimates because, you know, it is an ultimate. But a lot of people, like for example, Parser or Speed Killers, will want the weapon for the extra melding option. They're a minuscule upgrade, but people want them. I feel like they need to put... Yeah, no, I see where you're coming from. Like, the gear just doesn't last. I feel like they need to either make gear... Okay, there's gotta be a weird solution. They make the raid come out, you get gear, then you go do another raid, but release content lower item level. Not like similar to the current raid, but like lower item levels. That way your gear will matter for future. For example, that will also give reasons to go into previous tiers, for example, to get the gear for the like the more current content, I guess. Obviously, you did mention that you're more of a casual player, so this is just me rambling. An item level restructure using Criterion or a way to earn tome gear upgrade weekly from it, I think would be great, and I'm not alone in thinking leveling dungeons should follow varying design. DT. Plus, the return of hard mode dungeons from AR and Heaven Sword in the form of Criterion is a cool idea. I agree with this. I agree. I feel like the variant dungeons should be specifically based on the dungeons we already get. It should not be... It should be specifically dungeon. Maybe not hard dungeon, but just like that specific dungeon, but variant. And then, after variant... we can add Criterion, which Criterion is just going to be like the Savage version of that dungeon. I definitely feel like the Criterion should be built upon the existing dungeons and not like brand new wacky stories. Pardon. Hold on, someone threw at me. Okay. I think Criterion could be a great path for getting gear. It's not as hard as Savage raids for me, and I have a lot easier time managing 4 Morns than I do 8. Criterion Praetorium. Shut the... How dare you even say shit like that? Get out of here. I love small group content. Actually, yeah, Praetorium should be a fucking variant dungeon, shouldn't it? I love small group content, but since they added weapons to them so late in the expansion, it missed the mark for me. I already had the relic weapon, and since I didn't feel the need to get the new weapons, I didn't want to bother this time. But next time, if they added these things earlier next time around, I would consider them more heavily. This is a big point a lot of people have been bringing up. Like, specifically with gear. Like, the next tier will annul any need for our previous gears, and if it's like the end of the expansion, what the fuck do you need gear for? This content is also synced, so getting like... Well, obviously it sinks down, so you could still get like the highest item level possible for a more effective run. But yeah, it's like these things need to come out much earlier. Much earlier. Honestly, I feel like these things need to come out specifically on raid patch, but because we get a raid 2 weeks later, we need to get the variant in Criterion first, and then we get the raid. That, I feel like, would be the ideal way to do this. I have to firmly disagree with the statements this guy has made in his video. As a casual player, I personally don't see myself stressing myself out trying to prog Criterion just for better gear, when I'm already just doing a weekly grind for tombstone gear as well as trying to get my hands on the relic weapon. It just seems pointless to me. Yeah, a lot of people agree with this. Definitely a lot of people. I upgraded all Manderville relics simply by doing hunts. It took me very little time. Okay, cool. Wait, what is he talking to about specifically? Something else to give them the solvent just for glamour. It's like, I don't know. The only way to get the weapon is tomes and P11 and Criterion. Yep, pretty much. And they need... Oh, I think he just misunderstood what we were specifically talking about. But yeah, you can get the tombstone specifically by doing hunts. Or just farming out Manderville relics. I'd like to see a gear set exclusive to each... let me actually just increase this so people really aren't struggling with this. I'd like to see the gear set... I'd like to see the gear set exclusive to each VNC dungeon, Think Elemental or Bajia sets. That is a good idea, actually. They give you exclusive buffs in VNC and can be augmented Criterion coin drops. I'm not sure about haste. Haste is such a weird stat, honestly, but that's just my little take. Provides a tiny bit of meaningful power increase that's only really relevant in VNC, like Baja's gear haste buff, though it doesn't have to be haste. Yeah, exactly. Also doubles as a nice glam set to earn. And encourages augmenting it for dieability, adding another carrot to Criterion stick. I don't think the item level needs to be on par with Savage gear, but should be at least close Criterion sync with when fully augmented. Say around 5 to 10 item level below. So Savage gear isn't a strict requirement to do well in Criterion, but instead a boost for fully geared Savage Raiders. I agree. I definitely agree. One of my versions in my long fucking Schizo rant video where I talked about fixing 14, I did suggest adding Criterion dungeons specifically to open world content. You know, like the Bajia and, you know, the raids in there could be the Criterion content. That way more people, like, you don't have to wait for fucking, specifically when it's content day, you don't have to wait for 40, you know, the full alliance raid to do that content, and Criterion would let people do it more actively, especially if there's got to be a relic connected to it. I don't think Criterion needs to become the new alternate gearing path some folks want. Yeah, I definitely agree it should be like its own thing inside the open world. Not the open one, but like the exploration zone or whatever they're called. Something like XAV's version of Mythic Plus or something. I don't think XAV needs Mythic Plus. That's my personal opinion. I play World of Warcraft and Mythic Plus is just very boring. Like, there's a reason people don't like Savage version of the Criterion dungeon, and making it that is pretty much similar to Mythic Plus. It's just higher difficulty, it's just higher HP and higher damage, and that's it. And just trying to go higher and higher. Well, except for the part where you can die. But yeah, I that's my opinion. But I would like to be able to focus on it and engage with it less external requirements. Do VSC to get VSC gear to do better in VSC, you know? Yeah, I agree. Then toss in daily variant roulette with a random preset path to earn some more coins currency to keep variant from being ultimately irrelevant outside of the first 12 runs. I'd like a reason to keep doing them. Honestly, variant is pretty neat. Yes. I think also Mr. Happy had the best idea to handle Savage Criterion. Remove Savage. Already a great idea. But add the hidden boss to Criterion and make that the Savage chest Easter drop. Then I feel like if there was an extra boss, even if it's a secret or hidden, it's just gonna be a normalized run, because people will go in, like you're gonna see party finder groups doing Criterion plus secret boss. It's just gonna be like the standard if it's that kind of run. Say reaching the end, Deathless pops the hidden boss. Actually, this is a good idea. But it's gonna create such a toxic like environment specifically in there. It's like Failures will be kicked, added into the description. But failing to do so still lets you finish and earn some coins. It keeps the allure of the Esther weapon as a trophy for perfect execution, but makes failure and proc feel a bit less abrasive. Yeah, I agree and disagree on this, but I feel like this is a good idea, like removing, specifically adding the hidden boss, but it's like, it needs to be executed way, like, more thought through. Not better, but specifically thought through. Hold on. Someone joined? Yeah. The reward system in Variant Criterion needs to be different. They tried to do something with these weapons in Savage Criterion, but this isn't it. Variant is still harder than any other regular dungeon, so they should make it a way to get tome gear from it. I agree. At least, like, give us books for tome gear. Or a complete new gear set, same level as tome gear, but different stats. That will also have the advantage of giving us a way combine gears and find better ways to gear different jobs. Do you think combining gear sets would be an option? Like, you get one piece of gear, you get another, and then you combine them into a super gear. That would actually be sick, now that I think about it. You get tombstone gear, you get raid gear. For the next raid tier, instead of crafting, you could combine these for a higher item level. You get like specific dungeon item that you get from Criterion, which allows you to mix tombstone gear with savage gear, and then you make a high enough item level. That would actually be a really good idea. Same for Criterion, that should have gear same item level than savage. Probably, yeah. Savage Criterion is kind of useless in my opinion, but if they want to keep it, give it similar rewards to ultimates. Instead of shiny weapons, give it a shiny gear or something like that in Eureka Last Gear style. Being outside of the gear path makes Variant Criterion Dead or Alive content. What's Doa? I don't know. And it's a shame because it's actually good content. I feel like, yeah, you might be onto something. Maybe Criterion could drop an item, like specifically from bosses. You get enough clears of a certain boss, you collect enough books, you combine them into an item, you combine that item with either tombstone or raid gear, it gives you an extra material meld. And that would kind of feel the necessity to do content. Shut up, phone. And you would be constantly upgrading your gear towards better and better and better. Like 6 extra materials is like pretty huge. Okay. I think what's funny is that Desperus misses the part where Xenos talks about Diadem 1.0. Even Wes Welker. Oh yeah, I know he's like, he talks about Diadem 1.0 from Heaven's Sword. The non-rating community threw a collective shit over added level 235 purple weapon from Diadem. Yeah, I remember like whoever I asked who played there at that time, they were not a fan of that area. I'm not sure what the fuck the area is. All they talk... To be fair, it was essentially referenced when we went there together. But you so annoying, I have to talk. It's more that people don't like talking much. They open up if someone else starts talking, to pushing them into cold waters can sometimes have the opposite effect. Well, I'm wonderful. So you guys better love me. I also remember when the hunt system was introduced in 2.35, so that's also Heaven's Sword. I was a new player then, and when the hunt started, I ran with the full hunt train. By the time I was done, I had full item level 90 gear on 2 of my classes. My FC leader at the time threw a massive shit fit, and I remember the quote, "What the fuck is your shooter doing handing out new gear to fresh 50? I mean, gimme. I like gear. Gimme more gear. Square is afraid of blowback from the terminally forum online rats who complain about anything for the sake of complaining. It's gotten to a point that the dev team is too afraid of experimenting because some hyper casual Andy or speedrunning chat will bitch about it. I feel like the feedback people give, it is valuable, but you underestimate how little shit devs will probably give if it's literally whining. Like, for example, a good example, like a lot of the videos about, like, you know, why Endwalker is the worst expansion I ever played. Like, Zeppel's video is a good example. Fucking nothing given there. Just nothing but, like, negativity. Like, not a single solution or any, like, you know, compromise or any option offered as an idea to the content that they dislike. So that's going to be ignored because like, let's be honest, the devs do play their game, and they're not daft or, like, you know, mute enough to think like, oh man, they're unhappy with our games, we should submit. No, they're adults. They know, they can recognize a hissy fit when they see one. At least I hope they can. I consider myself casual at this point. I do any and all content for the experience of doing it, nothing else. I love doing all content, minimum item level, no echo. I've done current content as well for 2 tiers, and let me tell you, I was rating 9 to 10 hours a week at that point. Wait, what? All content, minimum item level, casual, 9 to 10 hours a week? I guess, yeah, there's no way I would do Criterion at that point. It's simply too much time. I feel entirely disconnected from this whole discussion. It's probably the more hardcore players that are asking for this. People who do nothing but grind out the game day in and day out, clear content within the first week, and are left wanting more. Yeah, I do agree. Like, the hardcore players are very wanting. Like, the loudest people that will complain that they have nothing to do are people who are bored, or specifically hardcore players who have done literally everything multiple times and just refuse to play other games. All content, 9 to 10 hours plus per week, that's fine. That's me. Yep. There's like different definition to every player. Even casual players can play long hours by doing raids or any other content. It just depends on expectations, like I guess mine said. They should play Baldur's Gate. No, stop it. You're mean. I consider myself a casual raider. I don't do current extreme savage fights. Just the older ones on minimum item level and no echo. I've tried doing all 3 Criterion dungeons when they were fresh from their newest patches, but I'll probably wait doing them properly once they become old content. Keep in mind there are synced content. We are not sure we're gonna get unsynced versions. That is a very important point, because they do go through like specifically a different menu, so we don't know if we're gonna get unsynced versions yet. So they might remain like more or less current for a while. Doing them while they're current gives me the same stress as doing current extreme savage rates. Too many mistakes or learned a mechanic too slow equals that guy from PF. Ooh, you hate to be that guy from PF. To be fair, I find Criterion harder than extremes. That could be just me. And probably harder than savage, but specifically like first or second turn of a tier. But I kind of understand where you're coming from. You really don't want to... You want to kind of chill, you want to do content, but you don't want the content to work against you into having fun and in resulting in you just becoming, you know, that guy as you mentioned. 'Cause we know the guy. While Mion is spending millions of gil or grinding his ass off to show new stuffs in-game, Disperis is busy editing his video from data mine contents. I tuned from a savage raider to casual after taking a long break, and no, I want to do Criterion for the experience, but I'm in no hurry to do it. There's no more. Okay. I get that people, like, even me, like, I was a very active raider for a very long while, like, but like in 6.3 or 6.4, whenever Top came out, Top literally burnt me.
If this doesn't work, I will report you.
You shut your fucking mouth. I will slap you. But yeah, I kind of get that sometimes you need to take a break too and kind of disconnect from something you don't like. Well, you like, but you need to kind of step away and look at it a bit from afar. I kind of get that. I do hope you experience Criterion, because Criterion is like a tedious topic to discuss, but as far as I've done Criterion, like, it is fun. It's just fun to do. So I do suggest you do it eventually. Yes, mind you, I consider myself a casual mid-core where savage rating comes way later in my priority. At least you do savage rating, even eventually. It doesn't matter like if it's on patch or not. I feel like everyone should experience some level of savage rating, even casually. So I don't normally look at start savage until after several weeks. Exactly. That is if and only if the fights interest me at all, like P10S this tier. P10S is a very fun fight. It is a very interesting fight. A lot of new concepts have been added to that fight. I've been interested in Criterion, normal, not savage, so okay. since beginning, but I haven't touched any except an attempt at Silky Boss. Silky Boss is very fun fight. Honestly, out of the 3 bosses in that dungeon, Silky's the most fun. I like Silky. The fight looks fun, but currently there is no incentive besides just for experience and clear once. And so for me, it is content where I'll put into my backlog for later. Unfortunately, that most likely means the content would be dead by that time. Not necessarily. People do all content, believe it or not. People will go through Eureka, people still do Baldessian Arsenal, Deliver Regenite. There are groups of people who will specifically gather to do the content and help others enjoy and clear the content, even for mounts. So if Criterion does offer another gearing method, then I would be more motivated to make a group myself. Tombstone gearing takes too long. It takes so long, I agree. While people could argue you don't need a savage item level to do casual content, but it's still nice to see gear progression on multiple jobs roles that I play. Scholar, Bard, Black Mage, Gunbreaker. This will also immensely help people... Sorry, let me reread that. I'm a bit brain farty. Tombstone gearing takes while people could argue you don't need a savage item level to do casual content, but it's still nice to see gear progression on multiple jobs roles that I play. This will also immensely help people to flex roles when helping with Savage Prog. Casual Savage Raiders who started late into the tier to catch up some gear for Comfy Prog. I agree and disagree in a sense. Apart from that, setting up a 4-man static is more possible for some people and way easier to manage. I agree on that one. 4-man statics could be a lot more fun and approachable kind of concept to deal with.
Ooga chaka, ooga chaka, ooga 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 chaka.
I got a feeling. Issue is that even casual players will want some gear scaling. That is true, but majority of the content for casuals is synced. And honestly, I'm not sure what kind of casual content would be preferred to offer. Like the variant dungeon definitely should offer some gear. I believe variant dungeon should be based on the dungeons we have. Like a couple of people have agreed, including Gibbles in one of his recent videos. Yeah, this is a whole conversation. Criterion is absolutely uninteresting for me as soon as I'm done with the paths. I'm guessing you mean variant. Eureka was good, they should bring that system back. I agree. Eureka does seem fun except for the initial areas. I feel like we don't need those several areas that you have to go through. Just one area, similar to the Delibram. Sorry, not Delibram. Yeah, Delibram. What the fuck am I talking about? Because Eureka and Baldessian Arsenal, that whole concept seems very fun, but it's just too grindy. It just takes fucking ages to get where you want to be to have fun. If that makes sense. Also, have you seen the new League season? Yeah, I've seen it. No, not Delibram. You always need that to get something from content in order to do it. I know Euphrazine like the back of my hand because I've done it so much just because it is an aesthetically beautiful put together, right? Some people will do it because they like it. That is true, but it's not for everyone. Right now I'm just kind of trying to connect with more casual players and figure out what could be a good solution for people. Maybe we can kind of gather, bring a voice for the devs just to offer option solutions. We would like some of this content, you know? At least I'm trying to help, well, not help, but I'm trying to kind of connect with the more casual community at least at the moment, and see their thoughts on this whole conversation. Because recently we had so many people just kind of claim, because you don't want. We all love Xeno. I guess some people will defend Cole and Despairs with their takes. Despairs has had quite a few daft takes recently, specifically in the name of the casual players. So it's I am trying to kind of just talk to the casual community and just kind of get their take on this. Do they actually feel this way? Yeah. I am thinking of doing this maybe bi-weekly, just to connect with certain players, just to have a conversation, open a specific forum. I am capable of doing Savage, but my group consists of 4 people that I like to play with. And I hate playing with randoms and wasting my limited time progging with randoms that just leave and you need to start practice once again. I'm guessing they have a day job or something that's limited their hours. I would love to be able to get gear within Criterion with my friends for the time where we can't find a good static due to issues with free time being quite random. I agree, like a 4-man static could be really cool, but you gotta keep in mind, the moment content like this becomes more available and more viable towards getting gear, the more high-end players are gonna be fucking all over that, and they will ruin it for everyone because they're gonna try to mid-max, split around, and optimize that shit, and essentially make that content weekly locked out. So it's like, I guess it could be cool if it gave gear, just probably not Savage level. I've never done a Criterion. As a rule, I avoid what I perceive as hard content. There are many reasons for this. Also, I don't want to play a game that feels like a chore. I originally quit WoW because the end game was just grinding daily quests. I agree that WoW is has its own set of issues. Criterion, honestly, I would just give it a try. That's just my opinion, and I would probably just recommend it. Like, find some friends and just try to casually go through it. It's not very grindy, and it's like there's no lockouts or anything. It's like it's pretty fun just to do. It's a good in between. Obviously, the conditions that you cannot rest people is a bit fucking stupid in my opinion, but between, I'd say the difficulty is between extreme and savage. So it's like you can definitely enjoy it as a bit of a step up if you're too bored with extremes and Party Finder, or you just want to hang out with your friends. Do I count as casual then? I've never done an extreme or savage, mostly because I don't like the stress. Probably, yeah. Nothing wrong with that. If you don't like stress, that's absolutely fucking fine, honestly. I spend a lot of time playing Final Fantasy 14, but don't do that X Savage Unreal content. So I'm guessing normal? So you can call me the casual to some degree. I mean, nothing that you have mentioned has an inner age timer. Well, nothing that you do, at least off the top of my head, has an inner age timer, so it can be pretty casual. So you can call me casual to some degree. I've never done another Criterion dungeons, just the normal version, so I'm guessing he means variant. Usually solo, because finding a party for the... Yeah, so if he's doing solo, then it is variant. Because finding a party for a specific route is difficult. After finishing all 12 routes, I never played it again, because there's no reason. Rewards aren't appealing. As for the Criterion versions, people say they're like extreme savage content. Yeah, and I never found a static to do that, or any extreme savage content for that matter. If there's a will, there's a way. Depending where you are, there are usually specific discords or communities specifically meant for gathering groups. For example, in Europe, we have something called ERC, European Rating Central, which is basically people post and people find groups, essentially. Either looking for group, everyone posts, like looking for Savage Static, looking for Savage, looking for Criterion, etc, etc, etc. People do find statics, or looking for people for your group. So, whatever region you're in, you should have a community like that. I promise you there are active ones. And yeah, honestly, I would give it a try. You don't have to finish it if you don't feel up for it, but just as an experience that you have cleared it. At least like a boss or two, you know? Papad. It's more so because there's enough stress out of game. I don't want to stress in game too. That's a good take. Don't worry about, like, if you are not doing content because you don't want to stress over it, that's fine. Video games are meant to have fun, so don't worry about it. I think the main reason why I stopped watching his videos is when I realized he did not do any of the content he was talking about. Like, say what you want about Zeppla, but at least she does Ultimates and Savage sometimes. Whenever she comments about them. Not always, but like Zeppla is a casual... I wouldn't say she's a raider, she just casually raids. She'll do content, she will not go back to do it. Even Reclairs, it's like, it's a big chore. Mainly because I had the unfortunate fun of raiding with her once. But that's a whole conversation, yeah. I do agree that Despairus needs to kind of do more of the content he kind of preaches about or talks about. Because so far, it's like, we did double check on him, and it would explain why he's so disconnected, because I don't think he paid, like, I guess he pays his sub, because we saw that he has Alliance raid clears. But I just feel like Despairus is just doing lazy content right now, but that's just, like, my opinion, because, like, I can't see proof or any reason for... I don't know, his content is lazy. I'm gonna be very open about it. I don't respect that kind of content that he's doing, or that he steals entire segments from, like, FanFest. Gear would be good if it was weekly capped. Same rules in Savage Loot. What do you mean? Like, in Criterion? I agree. If there was gear drops, or even like extra books would already be much better if you get books from clearing bosses. Extra books, already much better. You might not get the tombstone gear faster, but it's like you at least will have higher item level out of just the savage pieces way faster. That could work. Did you have a comment somewhere? Did you read my comment? Maybe. They should really scale both variant and Criterion down. Remove the pointless savage version and make it its own ambuscade-esque progression track. Doesn't ambuscade mean ambush? Hold on, let me Google this word. Ambuscade, search. An ambush, yeah. Ambush, so in French entities have... Yeah, it means ambush. Sorry, hold on. Remove the points and make it its own ambush-esque progression track? If you ever see this video, can you like just kind of explain this to me? I'm not calling you out, I'm just kind of like a bit confused about this sentence. I do get like scaling, but variant doesn't need scaling because there's a reason people can solo it. Criterion, I don't think it needs scaling, but I think like the whole one rest per person is a bit silly. Remove the savage version. Yeah, that needs a complete rework. I agree with that. I still don't understand what this means. You clear the content, gain points, then buy and upgrade gear. Yeah, so the book system, kinda. I don't know how this is so hard for them to figure out. The whole point of people wanting another way to get gear aside from Savage is to not have to do Savage in the first place. Savage is boring as fuck lately, and the jobs being the most mushmouth versions of themselves today doesn't help at all. Not to mention Savage raids are... I don't know if YouTube is like kind of censoring shit, or I don't know. I agree and disagree on a few of these points, but I mainly agree with you that getting gear, and they need to figure out, like, I don't think it's difficult to figure out, it's implementing it without, you know, fucking up the entire system. Because they're very careful developers. Because, like, in World of Warcraft, we had this system. You could get gear from Mythic and Mythic Plus and raids. But because of how everything is interconnected, sometimes, like, Mythic Plus players, don't want to fucking raid, but they have to get the items they need for better performance. So same is going to be here if they add extra gear. But if it's... The issue is that we have just 2 sets of gear, Tombstone and raid gear. And they're just so disproportionate in terms of how you attain them. You have a really good point here. Just... I feel like it's not them not being able to figure it out. There's a reason they're the company that's successful. I feel like it's just... There's got to be some other reasoning out. Because, like, even during the FanFest, when the last one in London, I'm dating this video right now, people approach Yoshi P and ask him, like, when can you uncap the tombstones? Is there anything you can do about it? And he simply said, no, we cannot. I might be, like, huffing, like, unreasonable amounts of copium, but I feel like they might be revamping the entire gearing system soon. That is the reason he's, like, saying, like, we can't change it right now. Because that's just too many changes that needs to be greenlit. Oh yeah. I think people better stop coping on secondary path of progressions. They've shown they won't commit to that in many occasions, and we have shown to not be trustful with that. Sorry, I didn't get that. I think people better stop coping on secondary path of progression. So you believe we shouldn't have more options for gear? They've shown they won't commit to that in many occasions, so they're not offering us extra gear. Okay, yeah, no, I'm picking it up. It's not me calling you out, it's just a bit late and I'm a bit tired, so I'm just reading slowly. And we have shown to not be trustful with that. That is true. Also, I would like that people who really wish they add a weekly to Criterion explain to me exactly what would change overall, because I fail to see how one extra stuff to do on Tuesday would really change the situation at all.
He's stupid, don't worry.
Shut up. Don't bully me. I'll come. The reason people want to do more stuff is specifically to get more gear and make content replayable. Because at the moment the content can be done and just gotten out of the way within the first couple of weeks, depending how much free time you got. Like, you can get all the mounts, you can clear all the content, get all the achievos, etc. So it's like, one extra stuff is just, you know, people will be less bored. There's more stuff to do. There's more options to get gear. And, you know, weekly lockout essentially means that, essentially that's what it means. It's just that you're not doing everything in 1 week. Because imagine if you could just grind out all the tombstones in 1 week and get all the gear. That just beats the entire process. The only thing you can get like this in 1 week is from Savage, essentially. If you're very lucky with drops, or if you have a very organized group, depending. But it's like, that's pretty much what it would mean. That's the reason they want, and myself included, a weekly lockout on the Criterions, specifically if they add rewards like that, or even books. As for the Criterion weapons, they are glow sticks, the same as ultimates. Even the stats are the same as the session weapons. It's honestly a better way to keep the reward relevant than any suggestion I've heard so far. I'll give them credit for that. If people would stop bitching that the problem with the content is the reward, and instead actually talk of why they don't feel like doing the content, so we can actually have a discussion of what's wrong with it. But that's actually wishing for too much. I feel like you're missing the point that people are specifically they want to do content, but it's like at the end of the day they need to get rewards for doing said content, because that's what MMORPGs are. You hit things, you get loot, the loot makes you prettier and stronger, you know? That's the RPG dream. Same with Final Fantasy. For as long as you've played any games, it's all about gearing up, leveling up, and hitting bosses harder. So it's like, not everyone wants to raid for fun. People also want rewards. Maybe people specifically raid for the dopamine of rewards. Every player is different. So I'm sorry, but you're just missing the point. A lot of these people are just saying. You just simply appreciate different things in the game, I assume, because I'm not getting much of what's your take on this, other than that you don't like what other people think. I do agree that the weapons are a bit glow sticks, but some of them are really pretty glow sticks. I would get them. You also need to, yeah, it's the same as ultimates. You need to also keep in mind that some people will get those weapons if it means 1% damage increase, depending what kind of optimization they do. I'm not gonna claim that any of those weapons do, but someone will think of something. I already have this, so I don't see the point in this content, but I'm sure once I'm bored in Dontra, I'll go back for the glam. At least the rewards are getting better. It's wild to me that they are still giving materia as a reward for this content, though. Like, I agree. Like, see, this is what I think is stupid. I kind of get why they add materia, but I feel like it's shitty that they're adding materia into the same section as the rest of the rewards, and then making just the materia section. Because, like, God forbid you want to buy the Esther, but you misclick on the materia, and you buy that, wasting your fucking coins. Yeah, it's like... like their rewards need to be pretty. They need to be nice and they need to taste good. And when I smell them too. I would consider doing Criterion if it had something I want, except for the mounts which are market board approved for some reason. Yeah, I don't get that. It kind of takes away from the entire fucking reward, but maybe put the rally grind there or put glam there, gear and weapons, which is thematically tied to Criterion. Kick the material out of the Criterion exchange and give it something nice. So essentially just rewards. I don't think they're gonna connect the relic grind to that because they haven't connected the relic grind to current Savage content or even like current expansion Savage content since Heavensward. At least I don't believe they did it in Stormblood. Well, Stormblood was just Eureka. The whole power thing with the tombstone weapon is kind of stupid in my opinion. Wait, what? Power thing with tombstone weapon is kind of stupid. First, the base version still needs 4 weeks of normal rates since 645. Unless... Wait, hold on, what? I just tied to the lace, but also a token. I mean, token you get from doing Savage content. Unless you're just a normal rate anti, yeah, it's gonna take you 4 weeks. Unless the tokens for that token aren't subject to the weekly lockout, and I'm just talking BS. I'm honestly confused. What are you talking about? Just a tiny bit. That would still mean 2 weeks at worst, which is not a big time investment. Yeah, specifically for the weapon, because you need 500 now, which is still like 2 weeks. You gotta specifically wait 2 lockouts for that, which is a bit silly. Even when the only thing being done being roulettes. To be fair, there's a lot of roulettes. I don't necessarily... I kind of see the point of this, but I don't necessarily agree, because there's a lot of roulettes. They need to definitely raise the tombstone cap, so the roulettes would actually mean something. And if the solvent is part of the Hunts exchange, reaching the weekly tome cap would likely be done quicker since catching a hunt train. Solvent is not on the hunt train yet. They usually wait a bit before they add that. They usually add Twine and the Shine first, and the Solvent comes later. Actually, let me double check real quick. Oh. Sack of Nuts. Divine Shine Twine. Yeah, there you go. So the Solvent is still not there yet, as of recording of this video. So, unless they start adding Solvent to it, but again, it's like that is a big power creep. You also need to keep in mind how quickly a lot of the players will get bored once they get access to faster gear. Where did I stop? On some parts of the hands, reaching the weekly tome cap would mostly... Well, second, there's an even easier way to powerful gear. Craft it. Huh? Literally throwing guilt at the problem. I mean... Again, crafted needs to be made. If crafters don't make it, it's... but that's a whole different conversation. One just has to go around the servers to find the best prices or use Universalis. I'm guessing you're a more casual player who is kind of just around. A lot of raiders will also have already a crafted set, or well, sorry, not crafted set, but like crafting specifically set. They can make their own gear as well. You can also make your own gear as well, to be fair. But they're not as powerful as you think. The pentamelting is great, but it's not as good as one would believe. It's great, it's good, it's accessible, but not that. And if you are on U data center, just avoid Quintana. Yikes. The prices there are stupidly inflated, it hurts. One also has to have the gil, but adventurers have a somewhat passive income just doing, again, roulettes. Yeah. Fucking, no, what do you want? Where is your stupid comment now? Explain yourself. Fuck's sake. Or let me... Oh, there it is. It's right there. Look, I'm getting to it. Can you shut the fuck up and let me read? God damn it. If the glam on the Criterion exchange, it could be something the bosses use or wear. The bosses? In the Sildi subterranean, it could be the armor or weapons from the bosses. The Noir set is nice, but a hard-boiled detective doesn't really fit centuries-old rules of anonymous private reasons. So having some Sildi or Thorn glamour would be nice. Well, this is just the disposition with the glam gear in general. Same goes for low. Mount Rockland kind of has thematic glamour in the variant. So essentially, this is just you want better glamours, at least more thematically. I kind of agree. Like the Noir one should have been like a maps reward and not specifically a Criterion one. But yeah, glams are important. So yeah, Despair does sound spoiled. He does. It is easy to get augmented tombstone gear. The only two hurdles are the weekly caps and the Hunt's alliance rate. And if it is about Criterion rewards, why bring up tombstone gear? I know. We don't a secondary way to get it that is potentially more difficult than the primary one. Lowering the difficulty of obtaining said gear isn't the reason either then. A broken clock is right twice a day. Unfortunately, Despairs forgot the rest of the said day. Let's not bully Despairs too much. I hopefully eventually he'll resub to the game and actually do some content. Oh look, it's now as content. Just gonna fucking dislike it now. I'm not a casual strummer. I'm not a casual strummer, but I kind of missed the live, so I'm throwing my stupid... You ain't just learn to type now. I swear to God, I'm gonna ban you. In my opinion, the Savage version shouldn't even exist. What's the point of doing something you already did, but with more HP? That's the laziest way to create difficulty. So, unless they start adding more mechanics or use other bosses from the variant dungeon, they should just remove the Savage version completely. Or, turn it into a gauntlet, because the reward is similar to Ultimates. You just get a weapon that's kind of shiny and just a bit better than the current one. Well, the Tombstone one. So, maybe just instead of the Savage dungeon being what it is right now, just make a gauntlet of bosses. That'd be fine. It's hard to find a good reward for them. FFXIV gearing is hard to change without throwing out the rest or making the new reward useless. Yes, I agree. I think there is a need for a rework on that part to be able to make new multiple gears good, but sadly I don't have an idea for that. Okay. I do agree that we need multiple gear sets, but that essentially stems from the stats being fucking stupid. Because essentially the gear sets always come down to like the three basic sets. Speed sets, then priority on crits, direct hit rate, crit determination, or determination and direct hit rate. Very few variations specifically just basing on skill speed or spell speed that you might need, but like they need to fix the stats, make tenacity useful, make piety useful, make those affect job spells, so people would want to get specific stats, not just like what does the highest damage. But yeah, it's a whole other can of worms. This is a weird place we are in, because on one side the Criterion, normal, not savage, concept is super good and fun, but on the other side, except for one clear completion, there's literally 0 point to them. Even the mounts is marketable, so you can't even show off like ulti weapon or savage mode. Yeah, I agree the mount should not be available on the market board. That's yeah, the only way I can describe it is cringe. Because like, why make difficult content if you can't show off your achievement? Why sell your achievements? There now, you happy? Strummer's stupid, he can't read it, shaking my head. Shut the fuck up. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Well, it is what it is. Simply put, yes, gear is good. A main selling point of this game is job switching. If you want to rate at all, job switching is a pain, and they're different from what one would experience, or even think the game is like till that point. You're asking the casual player, which is why you won't receive the exact answer. Yeah, I know, but I still want to see people's takes. But you will hear something in the tune of, I don't know, gearing's kind of weird, I want to play more alts. Actually, this is a very weird point. A lot of people didn't mention alts at all. At least so far that I've been reading comments. I think actually you're the first one to mention alts. Maybe the point was a bit lost on you, but you do the same thing that many people do. They think of casual and hardcore, but not the in-between. People who clear Criterion or Savage rating are not casual players, they're mid-core players. Not necessarily. Some casual players sometimes just do Savage rating for fun. They will clear P1S by the time of 3rd tier, but it's like they will have fun. That is their casual content. They will do it. It's essentially just expectations and mindset of why you do raids. Just because someone does content doesn't make them that particular content enjoyer. It doesn't give them a specific label. Like Zepla clears an ultimate. No, nobody's really labeling her a raider. She's a person that raids. She can clear some content, but she's not actively raiding. She's not doing it. She's not improving as a raider. Like most raiders, like specifically hardcore raiders, well, not hardcore or even midcore, they will be in Party Finder, either trying to clear content or just farming extremes, just getting some, you know, goals done. Meanwhile, Zepla is not even like, she'll clear some extremes, but I don't think she's even mount farming. She just kind of clears content and heads up back to either World of Warcraft or Genshin. So you know, it's like the labels aren't really necessary here. Casuals can do this content as well. You can clear that content casually, as in with very few hours per week at your disposal. Yeah, there's just no reason for you to go out of your way to do it. Fun. Having, like, just right before finishing these comments, I subbed into a group of people who fairly casually are doing A4S. Alexander raids back in Heavensward. Sync down, no echo, all that, you know. They're doing it for fun. They don't really need a reason. They're just doing it for fun. The experience, not even the experience at this point. It's fun. Now let's talk about what Xeno actually does. He does Criterion. He barely does anything, bruh. Huh? He's clearing it day one. Who said he barely does anything? I feel like I made this comment specifically about Disparis and not Xeno. Nobody, legitimately, nobody thinks that Xeno does nothing. I don't know, you seem very anti-Xeno without actually listening to it. Are you talking about Disparis or Xeno? I'm gonna assume you kind of skipped the entire fucking conversation. Unless you mentioned where I watched his video, then I said he barely said anything for 30 minutes because he kept bringing up burger examples and other examples just trying to get to one fucking point. His 10 minutes, the last 10 minutes were the important part of that video. That video was 42 minutes. Otherwise, it's like, this is a very, like, I don't think you understood what I said at this point. Because you'd understand what he's pointing. He doesn't want easier gear, he wants accessible gear. Literally what I fucking said. They require Tombstone, 7 normal kills. They require... Before you say you can only... Hold on, what? You can raise it to 6... Okay, yeah, that's how you get the gear. And before you say you can only exchange Alliance Raid coins or sacks of nuts for accessory and armor. Yeah, I know. Is she... Like, is this person commenting specifically on Desperius' video, but on my video? I'm very confused right now. That's right, you need to essentially have cleared for a weapon that has the same stats. Think about this. Who is this for? Is it... Okay, you're repeating Xenos' fucking points now. It doesn't launch alongside New Seer. Okay, people who clear face already have the exact same stat. People who just now started to do Savage don't have 3 out of 4 bosses killed. People who have done it... Okay, you're making Xenos' points in this comment section right now. People have enough time to prog Savage tier, but are not done yet with the tier. Just happen to stand in front of Athena and still find enough time to do Criterion Savage somehow. Yeah. Again, the issue is if you meet Criterion now, which is number 4 by the way, you are just better off doing more Athena. Let's talk about the content itself, though, to see full picture. I'm very worried that I'm about to commit to this comment and this person hasn't really actually heard what I fucking said. Okay, the Savage is literally the same as normal version except on a timer and with higher number requirements, no new mechanics, nothing. Let's talk about what content was set out to do. It was supposed to bridge the... No one really said what it was supposed to do. It was just new content to bridge gap between extremes and savages. Again, no one ever mentioned, like, I double checked the interviews as well. It's like they're not really saying it's an extra difficulty between extremes and savages. It's just extra content. So it rewards something only accessible to savage raiders, almost done with the tier. This is a redundant due to aforementioned stats. in content type, bridge gap between people who finish their extremes and savages, and how difficult it is called ultimate practice due to how fast-paced it is. All three criterions are the only content aside from ultimates with legitimate heal checks. It is 25-minute play perfect gauntlet in savage due to unforgiving. You're essentially just explaining the whole thing to me. Like, we are discussing this conversation. We know what this is. It's Savage Boss 3.4 to 4 to 9%. White people, and especially Zimsa, complain about the upgrade. Savage is redundant, the weapon is redundant, the weapon requires you to clear. So you're repeating your points. There's nothing wrong with giving a 6 upgrade that takes okay, normal clears or tombstone from second Savage Boss when it's even put into normal criterion. There's nothing wrong with that because it would be incentive if you get a savage to your weapon. In content that is about as hard as second or third boss in savage. That means you give it a shiny new weapon that is better than your normal rate or your extreme trial weapon. That means giving you a confidence boost as a new player. Okay, as well as refillable that you are good enough to try savage. This would have been the perfect solution. Side note, even though we already are beyond the scope of the question, Xeno doesn't advocate for easier gear. You are repeating your point, and you need to rewatch the video. You do understand that I watched Xenos' video, and I agree with them. Accessible gear, not easier. I literally advocate for less easier gear and more gear for everyone. I no one wants easier gear. This... Okay. As explained above several times, that's what he means with accessible. This game prides itself with its job system. I don't think anyone fucking prides on it anymore. But as an actual Savage Raider, let me tell you something. Well, as an actual Savage Raider. You gotta keep in mind, it's like, you can switch between jobs. It doesn't mean you can switch between every job and this. You can still do other content other than the most current Savage tier. I'm telling you, it isn't. You're locked until around 8 weeks to 12 weeks after the launch of the tier. Due to tombstone caps, the actual clearing of the raid doesn't usually take more than a week, even if in Party Finder you can do it 99% of the time. Why is it... I feel like this is just a lot of, like, unhappy, bitter ramblings. That's a shame. As a casual as well as Xenos is... Yeah, I felt holding this. I was lucky somebody just recorded too. My friend, if you ever see this video, please double check what the fuck I said. Because at this point I already realized you misheard what I said. Like sorry, not that point. Specifically this point. I already kind of figured out that you kind of lost the plot here. I agree with Xeno. I watched his video. He barely does anything that was addressed towards Despairs, because Despairs doesn't do anything in the game. That's why he's disconnected. If I said he barely said anything, it was addressed to the first 30 minutes of Xenos' video, where he keeps picking up the same fucking phone burger and comparing the fucking buns about content, and saying that Criterion is currently just buns without the meat and the cheese. I watched the video, I promise to you. But I appreciate, like, you feeling passionate enough to post this. But we could have avoided a lot of that. I feel like this person felt personally attacked. No, I feel like they're just very passionate about a topic, but they just kind of missed one point and just needed to double check a couple of things. That's it. I don't hold this against them, honestly. Correct. Now, I really don't do Criterion, and it isn't something I do if I can get the gear upgrade items. But for that, I really prefer wait the Alliance coins. I just hope they change Criterion to Criterion Savage. The normal should be for do alone. The Criterion for a little more hard content, but not like now. And Savage should be... My friend, you need some punctuation. Everything's just one sentence. I see these, but not a single dot. Should be for high-end players. I don't know, maybe add something like every 5-7 weeks get a coin in the Criterion to get an item to upgrade gear, or just some glam. But like, this is really not a good content. Really, people just do the 12 routes and never come back. If not, was to help a friend or something. I assume you're essentially are talking about Variant and Criterion. But you, as difficult it was to read this comment, and this is not an attack on you, just me being tired. This is echoed by a lot of players. I agree with you, except for like, I don't think you need solo content. The normal should be done alone. I don't mind if there's going to be an achievement for it, similar to, for example, Palace of the Dead. You clear it on your own, you get Necromancer title. Really cool. But I don't think it should be like solo content, and nobody should be encouraged to do solo content in an MMO. At least that's my opinion. People mix up Criterion and Variant a lot because it's stupid naming convention. It's like Variant Dungeon, Criterion, another Criterion Savage. It's like fucking what? And the abbreviations would like never stuck because of these specific naming conventions. Because like Ultimates, they're always like top T, DSR, UCOP, right? But it's like these are just not sticking. They're just not sticking. It was funny when the first one was called Ass, but after that it just kind of nah. Right, let's see. I'm sorry, but that's out of touch. You know what I did for every expansion up to Shadowbringers? I did the gearing process. Run the raid 24-man to prepare for the 8-man. Huh? You did the 40-man to prepare for the 8-man. Get my tomes, get as much 24 raid gear to replace with tome gear. Oh look, it's time I can upgrade, then done. Didn't want to do it, I farmed dungeons for currency and other job gear. What? I'm guessing this is a more casual player who essentially waits for the next alliance raid before doing the Savage gear, I'm guessing. What do I do now for Endwalker? I buy high quality for main classes. Yeah. Farm dungeons for VC for currency. I'm guessing that's Variant Criterion. Maybe do a raid. I use Variant Criterion for the 12 turns, get lore, fight something different, and get my mount. I'm not expecting gear. I'm not even doing for the harder... I'm guessing that. I understand what he's saying now. I'm not even going for the harder content. Just do it to get mount. Off I go. And there's many ways for people to get tome gear. Now to upgrade gear is awful because there's only two ways. Run raids for coins or run Savage. Okay, yeah, Alliance raid for coins. We need something else in a way to convert Poetics to current currency because I need that more than 2,000 sitting around. Okay, I can't understand. So this essentially wasn't exactly addressed to me. They do enjoy the content. At least I hope they're enjoying, but they seem to be active. I do agree that we need more upgrade options, or at least like more gearing options. Something definitely needs to be done. I pretty much assume you kind of wait for the Alliance raid to give you more current gear before you go into raids, which is understandable. Nothing wrong with that. We need something else and to convert Poetics to current currency. I disagree with this. Poetics are much easier to farm than anything in the current content, I promise you that. Especially if you've done the relic weapons in Heaven's Sword. But yeah, the 2,000 cap, they need like more spendage. As a casual player, it was really easy. I did it. Oh yeah, I think I commented to this person. I think they were they were just essentially talking about the they're talking about specifically the Variant Dungeon and not the Criterion one. So this was a bit off topic. As a casual player, I don't like the fact that we finally get a chance to get weapons that are as good as the Savage weapon, but still be locked behind Savage content that's even harder than Savage by some people. It's not really a chance then, is it? It's actually extra steps. If you're gonna try to give casual players weapons that are near the level of Savage, don't lock it behind something harder than Savage for casual. I don't think this content, specifically Criterion Savage, I don't believe it was meant for casuals. Criterion maybe, but not like Criterion Savage. I don't believe this content was aimed at casual players. Maybe the Variant Dungeon. But it's like a lot of people are assuming specifically what the goal of the content was. And a lot of different takes for this. They could have given this final tome upgrade to a more farmy content, or at least they better make sure that the final relic weapon step be as better, cause final relics have always been one step behind from normal savage. Again, this final tome upgrade to a more farming content. I guess, yeah. I'm not sure if I'm on board with this, but I kind of get your point there. You seem to be confusing the normal with the savage mode. Variant is normal and Criterion savage. Nope. Don't. Maybe if I did misspoken. The naming convention of these dungeons are so stupid. You seem to be putting all casual players in one bucket. I do not. There's a reason I opened up this comment section to talk to y'all. Because there's the casual like me that cares about gear and making sure they can do extreme and possibly savage if PF is not shit. Okay. Then there is the casual. You seem to be thinking of the ones that only do MSQ and as easy dungeons and maybe alliance if they care for glamour. No. I am aware that some casual players do content, and if anything, if you watch some of my earlier videos, or don't, honestly, they're long and boring, but I will essentially tell you I am someone who advocates for casuals doing at least the first and second turn of savage content, at least extremes.
This wasn't for engagement farming. YouTuber actually reading comment. Hello.
I will ban you. Like, I'm the first one to advocate for casual players, because I've been in where you are right now. And I definitely, there's a reason I want to talk to all the casual players right now, just to kind of get everyone's take, because I am aware of how varied the casual content is. But the conversation specifically Despair is brought up is, again, it's synced it's synced content. It's synced. There's like the whole gearing thing is kind of pointless because it's synced. The whole conversation is like, his previous like gearing conversation was also kind of pointless because he's talking about casual content specifically according to Despairs. Again, this is not me making one big bucket for you all. According to Despairs, everything casuals mainly do content that doesn't have an end rage timer, so your gear doesn't matter. Again, as a reference to the previous discussion. But I promise you, it's like I'm aware that there's like a whole variety of you, a whole gaggle of casuals. Long pause, but I promise it connects to the Criterion issue. Okay. You know what? This is shorter than the other one before. Let's see. I am a casual. I honestly dislike people claiming implied the casual people have to do savage content. I don't think you have to, but I encourage people to do it. Because it's a good experience. I personally think that Square Enix should implement as a token system as they do for Extreme, so that way people unable to invest 90% of their time in the game have a chance to get things like savage upgrades and mounts. I mean, you do get a chance, just later than the people who are sweating over those. Before the sweaty... Oh, you beat me to it. Before the sweaty tryhards start typing away with pitchforks in hands. No, I don't mean to just get these things handed on a silver plate, but they should at least make it to where you, for example, have to run normal content like P12 normal roughly 5,000 times. Each time getting some kind of token or whatnot. AKA a super grindy way to get the savage only stuff. That way people actually enjoying Savage still are able to get mounts, armor, whatever before casual players do, and casual players, if they're dedicated, can still get the same items without having to wait up to 2 whole expansions to get said items. I tried to do extremes, but everyone goes to another DC and can hardly do so now, still trying to learn P9S and going into Savage via Party Fighter. No luck. I kind of get where you're coming from, but this is like a lot of MMOs have tried this, and this is like a very, very, I don't want to say toxic, but volatile method of grinding. Like, for example, islands on World of Warcraft back in BFA, because all the weekly stuff has been done, the more sweaty raiders would literally do like hundreds of thousands of islands just to upgrade their, at the time there was like a legendary necklace, but it was a way to do it, to upgrade your gear and item level and increase your damage by a couple of %. But essentially this is the same. Like, I understand where you're coming from, that you want at least some method or option of getting this gear but I don't believe it is a very safe way, specifically the one you're suggestion. Specifically for the reason because it's accessible to you, but as well as the sweaty tryhards. And this is just gonna create this particular rating economy where the sweaty tryhards are gonna fill up Party Finder with, like, you know, normal farming groups just to get more savage gear. And then they're gonna be even more bored. It's just gonna be a really big disbalance. And at this point, I genuinely just recommend just doing savage at this point. I get the frustration specifically for this point. But again, if everyone goes to another DC, so can you. Learning P9S, that is a bit of a. It is the issue you are bringing up, but it's also an issue with the current like staging the expansion. Like learning anything and doing a Party Finder is close to impossible. I've been trying to make Party Finder groups for learn some content as well. It's like I haven't cleared P12S, for example, because I've literally been slacking, just not in the mood for the fucking Savage tier this week, and I am not gathering any practice groups at all. I've made multiple of them in the last couple of weeks. None of them filled. None of them. Not a single one. I have not entered that instance. Same with Top and T. We tried multiple times, and groups just don't fill. Especially not for fresh prog. So I understand that your frustration, but I promise you, just be a bit patient. Hopefully soon it will fix itself. If not, I suggest looking around like ERC or other Discord specifically for friends. Yes, I am still bitter that they shoved the axolotl mount in Savage. They should have been Island Sanctuary instead. We could have been carried by the P11 boss as a mount, but no, they had to make it the axolotl. P11, but you want to ride Elitibus? You naughty girl. We did Top, not T. Yeah, we kind of entered once. That's it. Once. How many Party Finders have we gathered now? Just for Top. How many of them filled and how many? One group in the last 2 weeks. I think it was 2 weeks. It might have been longer. But Axolotl is specifically in the Savage because of the whole immortality science thing, and there's a connection to it. I do agree that the mount is a bit too cute for Savage, but yeah, that's a whole other conversation. I don't essentially disagree with you, but I also don't agree that Axolotl should be exclusive specifically for the non-raiders. Raiders like cute stuff too. God knows, it's like I don't want to do the current Savage tier. It looks boring as fuck. I mean, I've cleared the first 3 fights. I just don't want to do 12 because it looks dumb. But I will get it because I will get it done because I want the Axolotl mount. Eureka was bad. Baja was slightly better. Eureka wasn't bad.
I like cute stuff, and in Raider, please send cat pic.
If anyone's watching you, please send now cat pics. The parts of Eureka that were bad were the grindy parts. Everything others that are like the story, Baldessian Arsenal, other stuff, it was pretty fun. It was just too grindy. Baja was slightly better. I guess, yeah. Still don't have an Eureka relic completed. Exactly. It's way too grindy. I'm glad relics are tombstones. Me too. It's a breath of fresh air. I don't want to de-level, lose experience in any game. Code Vein, Bloodborne. God, Code Vein is bringing so much PTSD to me right now. Let alone have my character flee the battlefield in shame, despite fighting a giant metal death machine that blew up and freaking dragon, and a primal deities like every other day. I know, typical Friday, am I right? I seriously wish people coping for Final Fantasy XI days would stop saying Eureka and Baja were good game design. I guess it's a matter of, say, some people just need to stay busy. It's game design they like, but losing experience on death isn't good in design. Oh, you mean this part? Yeah, I feel like losing experience should not be a fucking thing. It's a punishment given the story and normal gameplay of the actual game. Like, to be fair, like, even story-wise, like, you get killed, why are you losing experience? You should be gaining it. I don't know, I never understood that particular punishment mechanic. Seriously, if you if enjoy Boj and Eureka, they can continue to make that kind of content, but locking relics behind it should never be a thing. I was showing my sibling Eureka the other day, and Hydratus only had 6 people in it, including myself, so unless I actually go out of my way to find a Discord or group to tackle that, there's no way I'd be able to do that type of content. Tombstones make relics future-proofed, and I don't feel pressured to do them now for lack of future-proofing. That's not necessarily future-proof, because, for example, now only cleared Hildebrand quest lines this week, and it's been taking her ages to finish them. She just started doing her relics, so not necessarily future-proof. And no, challenge logs are not future-proofing. Trust. Because while yes, you theoretically could still do Eureka and Baja, you can't solve any of it without walking on eggshells or knowing how the system works. At the very least, you run varying dungeons, you're still able to do it by yourself, albeit it takes twice as long and still doable. I agree that the content needs to be more either accessible, not even accessible, like more approachable would probably be the right word here. I do agree the frustration specifically with this. I'm also very happy that the relics, at least for this expansion, are tombstones, because holy fuck, I'm not in the mood for 30 fucking crystal towers again. You don't lose experience if someone reses you. See, this is the point this person is making. Because the content is empty, you kind of have to play solo. No one's gonna be resing you, and you're gonna end up losing the experience. So I kind of understand this frustration. I don't really have a solution for that. Like, those systems are there, but they need to be at some point kind of made more approachable for players. Either just increase like rewards or reduce the steps to make the gear there. It's not a lot though. It's not nice to have that as a mechanic. Because a good example is just like you lose a level, for example, right? You know you didn't lose a lot of experience and you're gonna gain it in the next couple of minutes, but it's just not a nice feeling. It's just very not nice feeling that you're paying for a game and the game is just calling you names and making you feel stinky, you know? Just dodge forehead, shut the fuck up. So when I found out that tombstone weapons get an additional glow for Criterion, I shook my head. Oh, dang. We don't need overly complicated gameplay mechanics to upgrade materials. We already have ultimates for pointless weapons. Oh, you take that back. Glamorous endgame. Even still, people cheated at those. Yeah, that is another topic. Criterion weapons are carrots and sticks just to... A lot of people are referring to these weapons as carrots and sticks, don't they? I say just to bump up that kind of content. I feel less inclined to do Criterion because they're weaker carrots on a stick. At least with Baj and Eureka, those were relics and you expected them to come in patches so that you knew how to break up your time. But Criterion upgrades aren't for a relic, they're just an add-on glow. That in all honesty should have just been a part of the Savage upgrade. I completely agree with this. I definitely agree with this. It feels overly complicated. Though to be fair, I did like that they gave a reward that made weapons shiny, but my initial idea was that it made the raid weapon shiny and not the tombstone ones. Giving this specifically to the tombstone weapons kind of match. It feels overly complicated to get the glow that could have just been a part of the augmented stuff. Yeah, savage raids are expected to take a while, so the carrot for the weapon, mount, armor, etc. is justified for the time spent. But the Criterion Dungeons rewards feel like they're pushing for it to be new kind of casual middle ground, but in my opinion, again, people make these assumptions, but it's like, you got variant, that's got to be your casual content. Criterion, I can definitely consider mid-core content. Savage Criterion, I don't know what the fuck it is. It's definitely not high-end. That's where they should have included the token system I described, or just give tokens like the books. Yeah, I like the idea with books, but uncapped for things. Okay, no, a cap. You need caps, otherwise you gotta, again, bring it back to the previous point. You're gonna have psychopaths just grinding those out in one day for things like Savage Mount or Savage Armor. I agree with this. They should have the ability to get the Savage Mount. Let's say Savage Mount drops for people who do Savage, right? But I feel like getting specifically tokens or books that you can collect. Let's say even 99, just the usual, you know, mount to mount, just to get the Savage mount. I agree with this wholeheartedly. Like, I don't agree for it to be uncapped. That's a bit that's a bit weird. But maybe, like, I don't know, some number of clears for the Savage mount. Savage armor, probably not. Again, for I previously mentioned this, since it's supposed to in between extreme difficulty. Why do people assume this? Did I miss like a live letter or an interview? Because I don't remember this. But yeah, I agree that you should have more than one option to get the mount. Specifically because like mount is like so. I get it, or it's a reward for clearing Savage, but it's like sometimes you just want the mount. You don't want to fucking do anything else. What else? The bigger picture, all this is nothing more than a test. They rolled up 3 different dungeons to see what would stick, never really were taken this serious. In the first place, they made these things before ahead of time. You can't change something that's already done, so the reward structure was already set it was. I mean, to be fair, the reward structure can be changed. Like, assets can be created if you put enough time. If, like, specifically systems, entire systems, yeah, I agree. Like, dungeons, etc. systems. But reward structure, it's like, we saw recently that they added more items to the rewards. It's not that difficult. They could, like, literally give us rewards that we already have in game. Like, books. A lot of people have been saying, like, tokens or books, something. Sorry, I lost my track. Ahead of time, next year they can't have an excuse, but I don't even know if they're even gonna do the dungeon part anymore. People want an explanation. Explanation? I think you mean exploration area more than do anything else. People wanna grinding non-stop for no reason because that's what their brain tell them to do. I kind of lost the plot like halfway through this comment. I'm very sorry if I didn't understand it correctly. Swapping out system is fairly difficult, but adding rewards is not. Honestly, they can literally give us something that already exists in the game. Hell, like most of the arguments for this game right now is that people want what's already in this game, just more efficiently or more, you know, accessible. Again, to bring up the whole argument of, about what Zeno said, it's like the tombstone cap, like in Dawn Trail, we're gonna have 20 jobs. 20 jobs. That is too many for a 450 weekly tombstone cap. Are we? We're at the point where literally it's worth just grinding and doing weekly reclears and Savage than even hoping to get a tombstone gear, like an efficient tombstone gear. Because you also need the upgrade items too. It's like, yeah, it's a whole, it's the same old rant. This is just the type of player. This is just, it depends on the player. Everything said it doesn't have anything to do with casual players, then I have no idea who the fuck your video is for. Like I said, there are many players that just don't have the option or time to spend 3-4 hours every day, 2 days within the format of 8-player Savage raids. Criterion could have been filling this void for a lot of players, but your reaction to my role was the same regardless from arguments or validity. I am not emotional. I like that you had to specify Sparius, but you try so hard to misunderstand me that cannot. Again, you just need to do research. I think I already commented this. Your point had been better was valid and touched on that. Yeah, I did agree that Criterion could have been better. But after that, you went to make suggestions, advice that's valid for nobody. I already forgot what the fuck he was talking about. Yeah, remember that you said vastly different things despite mentioning Zero and Mr. Happy. You can be... but I put... Yeah, essentially, Despairs, if you ever see this video, it's like... Again, you just need to do some research. It's like, I get it, you're trying to put out content, but you just need to do some fucking research. You suggest the information sources yourself, but you're not even in them. Like you can literally Google up your names in a lot of these discords, and you see the reputation you created yourself. All you had to do was look up some research and actually talk to the players. Oh goddamn, we're already there. In this game, you only do endgame content such as Savage, Ultimates, and or Criterion for either mount, glamour, or because you like the fight in general. Yeah. Gearing in this game is absolutely pointless and utterly useless. Yeah. Which is why people don't find worth in it, even if you try to do those types of content. Why stress over others in Party Finder? I kind of see this point. But it's kind of like hit and miss point. Or deal with toxic static to get nothing done. Oh man, this sounded personal. For gear that in 4 months is useless. I get that the gear is useless, but there's a whole process and enjoyment in grinding out the gear and enjoying it. I did have an idea recently that maybe like Criterion should specifically give you an item that combines the tombstone part and the savage part into a higher item level part that lets you use it in the upcoming tier. So it's like at least close to roughly the same item level as crafted gear. That would be pretty fucking cash money, right? So if, for example, someone didn't do the previous savage tier, they can do crafted gear. If they did do the previous savage tier, they can combine tombstone gear and, well, it's another idea, but I kind of get it. The uselessness of items. It's an issue they need to address in 7.0. I wish they did with Criterion, requiring savage gear to do it, then having a further upgrade. A lot of people's like point is that you need to do savage raids for the item level of Criterions, which I kind of see the issue with, but they could literally scale down this fucking dungeons because it is still synced content. They're so scared of backlash for the people. I don't think they're scared. They're a Japanese company. You have no idea the backlash they will deal with. As long as they keep the sponsors and the contracts happy. Like, small note for those who are not aware why Square Enix initially started their whole stance against add-ons. At one point, there was a popular Japanese actress streaming the game, and people started pointing out her low damage and bullying her started bullying her. You know, so obviously Square Enix has a contract. There's a whole, you know. There's a lot of tape that they went through to have this event happen. So obviously they need to defend this point and specifically defend the actress. So Japanese are going to be very stern. If people gonna have a whole chimp out and start crying like babies, it's like, trust me, they care about your feelings, but not that much that they're gonna listen to babies. Especially right now, there's like so many videos and content specifically about being a baby and wow, Square Enix not giving me video game. They're just gonna ignore most of it. Like, believe it or not, devs are adults. They're just gonna look at a lot of the bitching, just like think that, nah, they're just bitching. Also to note, you were pausing and commenting so much, some of his... Exactly. Also to note, you were pausing and commenting so much, some of his points went over your head because you'd pause in the middle of one, talk about that, then a pause and take the rest of this completing your point, not agreeing with everything he said, but it gets frustrating to watch. Well, fuck you. that was mean, but essentially that's how I read this. Because like his content is written out and he did record, he just didn't do research. Because I will specifically grab every little piece of thing he says. I do understand that it can be frustrating if you pause a lot, but that's how I'm gonna effectively watch his video. I will analyze. I'm sorry you feel this way. I didn't mean to say fuck you, but get over it, I guess. If you're a raider, there's no point doing these dungeons. If you're casual, there's no point in doing those dungeons. The only factor is fun, which you will get maybe if you clear it once or that's it. Majority of content in this game don't mean much. Your gear is worthless in a few months. No, you're wrong. Glamour is immortal and forever. Not gonna lie, I do need Criterion just because I'm bored and I want to feel pain and suffering for shiny gunbreaker weapon. My man is a tank main. He definitely wants to get hit. I do appreciate the feedback though. You need to pause at the end of sentences. Yeah, I do. I might start. You know what? This was very refreshing to read, just because I'm getting like a lot of perspective, but I also get a lot of people specifically echoing not just my opinions and thoughts, but like also each other. So it does feel nice and refreshing to kind of read on this. I would like to make this like a more well, not more frequent, but like every maybe 2 weeks, maybe every 1 month, I would like to talk to the community a bit. It doesn't matter, like if it's casuals, ERPers, maybe housing enthusiasts, just to get people's opinions and just read out their comments, obviously if they're willing. Again, if you guys want your comment to be read out from now on, just like leave at the very start, like either hashtag Goldknife or hashtag shout chat. Essentially, that's what I'm going to be calling it, because shout chat is where everyone can get to just say what they need to say. So for the next conversation, and I will read the comments in 2 weeks. Again, probably on, what day is today? It is Monday 20th. So in 2 weeks, again, it's going to be on the Monday. It's going to be a good start to a week. We're going to see what people think. The next conversation I want to talk to people is specifically what kind of... How do I even phrase this? If you could add specifically any type of content, this is not gear related, mind you. If you could add any type of content to the game, and this is for everyone, hardcore raiders, mid-core raiders, and casuals, I want to hear specifically your thought. Like, if you could add anything to the game, what would you add?
Dating NPC sim.
Fucking, of course you would. So just let me know, like, what would you add? Maybe specific attractions to the Golden Saucer, maybe some specific collaborations, maybe specific content that you would love to be in this game, or some kind of content that's already in this game and you want to expand on it. So I would love to hear, like, how would you specifically add content to the game? Because I am definitely enjoying this, just kind of going through and reading your comments. I apologize if I did seem a bit facetious towards some of you, but I do appreciate everyone's like feedback and taking the time to talk to me on these conversations. So hopefully I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.